Hey you mob, Katherine Black reacts, and this time we are doing series 2 of Traitors New Zealand. Cracking. As always, great psychology, great human nature. These programs, these reality TV programs, where they take a group of people and put them in given situations, they absolutely fascinate me. I do love reality TV. I enjoy it. And whether it helps in my writing on it, I don't know, but surely it does help you to understand human nature and character and what people do in a given situation. So spoiler. As with always on my reacts, if you're going to watch it, don't watch this because I will be giving spoilers. So my winner was a lovely fella, and he made a grave error. Mark. He was such a happy guy, and he was a dungeon master. Maybe slightly on the spectrum a little bit. Maybe not, I don't know. But he told us very early on, he walked with a cane and he had ME. And he told us in his interview that he was going to play on his cane and his disability to gain friends and so that people wouldn't vote him out because he was the poor disabled guy. Very first challenge, they had to find body parts of a doll. Very first challenge, he's dumped his cane and he's running. So that instantly made people suspicious of him. It was a very, very silly thing to do. He was a very silly boy. You know, for one of the brightest on the game, to say he was going to use this ploy and then forget about it was a bit silly. So he picked up the cane and dropped it at will throughout the show. He went quite early on. And he was distrusted because he was so enthusiastic and because he was a smiler. He loved the game. In real life, he's a dungeon master, and I'm guessing this is his life and his passion. So he came onto this game as a dream. It was his dream to be on Traitors. He wanted to be a traitor and he wasn't. Spoiler. And instantly, people didn't trust him because he was smiling all the time. He was just so full of joy at being on this program and being part of this experience. And every time somebody came at him in the round table with an accusation, "We think you're a traitor," he'd give this great big grin that made him look as guilty as sin, and he wasn't. He was just loving being accused, while everybody else was getting anxious at being accused and getting tense about it and showing all the tells. He'd just give this great big grin, and he was lovely. Anyway, he went early. So in the end, something that's never happened before, all the traitors were found out. We didn't have great traitors this time. One girl, she was a blonde undertaker, and she was very loud and very in your face. And I think the traitors have to be a bit circumspect, and they have to pull back a little bit. And yes, they've got to make the accusations because they've got to be seen as a faithful. But I think they've got to be canny. Well, she was right. I think you're a traitor because you did this, and I don't like you because you did that. So she went fast. She didn't like her. She wasn't very pleasant. And the others, they got them out pretty quickly. So we had all new traitors. They recruited when they had to. My Mark, my winner, not my Mark, the winner in the game, my man that I wanted to win, he was actually recruited. And by this point, he was a loyal faithful. He'd wanted to be a traitor all along, but he was a loyal faithful. He'd made his group of friends, and he was going to prove that he was a faithful to the end, despite smiling and being distrusted by everybody and being the one that was marked as being a traitor. And when the traitors recruited him, he said no. He said, no, I'd rather come out of the game than turn on my friends. So he quit, he sacrificed himself and left. And it came down to a little girl who was, to all intents and purposes, pretty useless. She didn't say much, she didn't do much, she was quiet, and she was ruthless. She was totally Machiavellian. She threw people under the bus at the drop of a hat. And in the end, it did hurt her. It did. You could see that it did hurt her until she saw the money. And then her eyes lit up like fireworks on bonfire night. And then she was sad again after seeing the money, and it hit her what she'd done. So her best friend, she kept her best friend in right to the end. And she did. She wanted her best friend to go out earlier so that she wouldn't have to face off against her. And she wanted the other traitor in the final. And fair dues, she wasn't going to rip him off, or at least I don't think she was. She might have done in the end, because she was ruthless. But to all intents and purposes, she was going to keep the other traitor in. They were going to go to the end together, and they were going to share the money. As it happened, it was her and her best friend in the final, and she who threw her friend under the bus. Her friend was gutted, walked away sobbing without even speaking to her. Whether they're still friends is anybody's guess. One thing that was lovely, one of the guys that were in a clique at the end and was convinced he was a traitor, and he was convinced that he was going to win. He was trying to get one of the other traitors, two of the other faithfuls onto his side. So he's in conversation with them. Trust me, trust me, trust me. You know, never mind your other alliances. Trust me, I am going to take you through to the end. Obviously, he wasn't, because he was a traitor. He said, but trust me. And when it's over, one of the other guys that had come out, which I thought was lovely, he said, we'll be splitting the money, we three, and we'll pull in Isale, I think he was called. We'll pull in Isale and we'll share the money with him as well. Did he intend to share the money 4 ways if he won the game as a sole traitor? Probably not. People can talk a good talk. When it comes down to sharing a pot of money, I think you tend to put your family first. So probably not. It was probably just words, but he sounded very sincere. Anyway, this year's Traitors, it was good. It was worth a watch. Give it a go. I love them. I love these pitting people against people things. Nice chat.